about the move the Mariners made. For all of those and that love to be critical of Jerry, of which I certainly am in that group. They went out and made what I think is a spectacular deal. Did not give up a top 10 prospect in their system. Gave up numbers 13 and 16 in their system. And they get a guy who's in his prime at 28 years old. Josh Naylor comes in. And we have yet to have anybody that's texted in, which is hard to do, John, with disagreement. There's always somebody that doesn't like it. I haven't heard it or read anybody that doesn't like this move. What do you think of it?
Big-time bat. And Naylor was a major reason why the Guardians got to the ALCS a year ago. I've always liked Josh Naylor. I think he is not afraid of a big moment. He has played a lot of high-level baseball on some very competitive teams throughout his already, I think now, you're getting him in his peak. This is like mid-career, peak Josh Naylor. I still think he has a big second half to come. He's a little behind last year's home run pace, but he's a better overall hitter than he was a year ago. I think his overall knowledge of the strike zone, he chases a little bit less this season, so I think all those indicators are really good. The Diamondbacks did well. I think Garcia is a good prospect as a reliever, not a starter. And then Ashton Izzy, I spoke with a scout last night who liked what he had seen from Izzy. But these are the kind of prospects that you end up having to give up to make your team better at the deadline. And I really think that if I'm a Mariner fan right now, I'm feeling good. This team has come out and played good baseball to start the second half. And there's something to be said for making a move early. And then you get a chance to see. Maybe this is the big deal that they're going to make, and they don't really have to make one more big one for the offense. But also, if you make this move now, you got several days to go before the deadline. You get the chance to see how your club responds. But I think Josh Naylor walks in the door. People respect him, and they know he's played in big games before. I think he's a really good addition, clubhouse, and also performance as well for the Seattle Mariners.
Well, JP, he seems like such a consistent hitter if you look at like his numbers, and then I don't know, it wasn't painful at all, as far as what you had to give up. I'm basically just speaking for the fans because we've been talking about, Harry Ford or Sellison or somebody like that they'd have to give up. But where does this rank in your mind as far as good trades for just a team in general?
Very good. And I think when you have a good farm system, which the Mariners do, it allows you to take from the middle part of your depth and upgrade your club. They didn't, to your point, they didn't have to give up Harry Ford. This was not giving up an Emerson or a Young, obviously. So they did very well here. It's not, to me, first of all, the ratings that you see this time of year are not the gospel, okay? They go up and down. Sometimes there are guys that are not rated very highly who end up having great careers, and the inverse is also true. But when you have a good farm system and draft well, this is your reward. You have enough depth to make a move, and still, to the point that I think Daniel Kramer made this point as soon as the trade happened, look, this does not in any way preclude them from getting Eugenio Suarez. And he's right. We saw Ryan McMahon go off the board today to the Yankees. But to me, the Mariners still have plenty left in the tank to make at least one more high-end move. And I'm of the mind I would still like to see them add a starting pitcher or at least someone that could be a bridge, maybe a Dustin May with the Los Angeles Dodgers as a possibility. I would maybe turn my attention to a little bit of the pitching side of things, perhaps shore up the bullpen, make the bridge a little better in that 6th, 7th inning range. And again, you don't have to go out there and get Emmanuel Clase from the Guardians. You just maybe have to add in one more leverage guy to help you manage the late innings. And this team is getting closer. The Astros right now have some fairly serious injury issues to where I think they're going to come back down to earth a little bit. And there's an opening for the Mariners. The Tigers are playing worse right now. I think the American League in general is getting a little bit tighter. And I'm a believer that we have not seen the best sustained baseball yet from this Mariners group, especially if they go out there and add an arm and really fortify that part of their club.
We talked obviously last year about the rotation and really taking advantage of that window with this, great 1 through 5 that they've got. And that certainly has been altered this year with all of the injuries. But we were talking about the window, and it feels like it's a different window this year, JP, with just the league. There's not that one team that everybody's looking at going, how do you beat them? There's good teams. They're very good teams, but the American League is down. The AL West is down. It just feels like this is a different window that they need to take advantage of. And to me, that move is the first step in doing that. And I'm anxious to see what they do to follow it up, because I certainly don't believe it's going to be their only move. But what do you think about that? Should there be a little more urgency just based on the fact that it feels like it's there to be had this year, based on how it's a bit down in the American League specifically?
I agree. And look, listen, I think when you look at the big picture of the last 4 to 5 years, let's say, around the time the Mariners started to get good again, 22 into 23 in the last several years, this is certainly the most wide open that the American League has been during that time. Because earlier you had to deal with the Astros still at the peak of their powers. Then last year, the Yankees would have been a really tough team, I think, for anybody in the American League to beat a year ago, and that was certainly borne out to be the case. The Guardians won only one game against them in the ALCS. The Royals won one game against them in the DS. So the Yankees were the best team last year. But those Yankees don't exist anymore. It is a much more wide-open American League. And so as much as Mariner fans, I think, correctly say, listen, we probably should have been a little more aggressive when we had a better and healthier rotation, which I think is probably the case. But you can make up for it a little bit by saying, hey, we didn't go for it then, but we are going to go for it now when our rotation is maybe not dominant, but it is good enough. And you've got a dominant closer, very good in Munoz. And then I think you also look at the lineup and say, if J-Rod bounces back, and we're seeing some better signs from him the last couple of weeks, and a Rosarena, and you got a historic year from Cal Raleigh, and then you add Naylor to that mix, again, you add one more bat, and you've got yourself a pretty good-looking team. I really believe that this team, we have not seen the best of it because of basically two reasons. The pitching has been more injured than it's been in the past, and Rodriguez had a pretty down first half. But those things I think they're starting to correct themselves. I really believe that. And you look, too, I've been impressed. I know we've talked a bit about this before. Before the All-Star break, they had that absolute gut punch loss to the Yankees when Wu had the no-hitter going. And then you look at how they responded. They played the Tigers. They've gotten off to, I think, a solid start in the second half, just playing good baseball. That if they end up making the playoffs, the way in which they responded to that loss, coming back, facing Skubal, beating Skubal, I think that's going to be the defining moment of their season. And I'm really optimistic at the way they're playing right now.
Hey, JP, you still see the Mariners going after starting pitching? I remember you talked about that a while ago, or is it, do you think this was their big move and they may not do that?
Well, I think it was a big move, but it's not necessarily the big move and the one that's going to be maybe the last big one. I think they have to build in some support, realizing what kind of workload Brian Wu had in the first half. I think it's been encouraging. Castillo has been better of late. Gilbert has been excellent the last couple times out, obviously. Logan Evans, the great Michigander, has really made himself into a very, very valuable member of the rotation. I think Kirby is kind of the big question for me. And you look at this group, I would not bump Evans from the rotation right now. Now, I would bring in someone, again, I referenced a Dustin May with the Dodgers, the Dustin May, Ryan Yarbrough type, someone that can open a game for you, come in the middle of a game. That type of a swingman, I think, has a lot of value right now in the game. And it's hard to find optionable pitching because no one wants to give it up, or pitching that can go either in the rotation or the bullpen. But that's the kind of guy I think that the Mariners would look to have and should look to have. That middle part of the game, maybe someone that's been maybe he hasn't quite hit his potential as a starter elsewhere. You could take a chance on him, maybe retool a little bit. That's what I would be looking for. I'm not saying they should go out there and get Sandy Alcantara. That's not what I think they need. But maybe a little bit more insurance for the back end of that rotation. And again, May's name has been out there a little bit with the Dodgers. They have a lot of things going on right now in L.A. I think they're trying to maybe add a little bit more pitching of their own, but potentially move out May and bring in someone who's maybe more of a frontline guy. there's a lot to watch there. And I think what I just said about the Dodgers is very emblematic of what the market is overall, which is you're seeing some teams both buy and sell. Listen, it wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden the Padres moved Dylan Cease, but then tried to trade for Stephen Kwan. We're seeing teams do both right now, and the Mariners honestly might be another team that could try to do that, where perhaps they would move a younger major leaguer off their club to bring in a more veteran one. And while I don't think that trading Williamson for Suarez is necessarily on the agenda, being creative with that type of an idea and concept, I think, should be something that they're thinking about.
Who was that pitcher you just mentioned? Sandy
Alcantara.
He just wants to hear you roll your R's again. Nobody rolls their R's like Jon Morosi.
JP, I love your dedication to that, man. I saw you the other day. I took a video and sent it to the guys because you said Alcantara like 3 times in a row, and you're like dedicated to it, man. I love it. And you're right, man. And Bob's jealous.
We got to get it right. There's an accent on that A. The first one, it's emphasis on that second syllable. It's true.
Bob can't roll his R's.
I can't roll my R's.
Yeah.
So
after all the times, Bob, the Barrios mention has been in the open for me for every week of our lives since the last World Baseball Classic. And guess what? The next WBC is in March. So you've had an entire interval between classics to practice rolling your R. I listened to what I was saying there. I think eventually you'll get there. It just requires a lot of dedication. I believe in you. I believe in you.
I love it.
I just haven't put in the time I need to. That's an effort thing, really. By the way, quickly, I got 2 more. I know you got limited time there, John, but you mentioned Kwan, and I've seen that he's a potential be traded. Why would I'm not dialed into Cleveland's farm system, so maybe there's an obvious answer to this, but why would they think to trade him? Because he's a hell of a player, man. I'd love to have that guy on the Mariners. I don't know if he, fixes any issues they've got currently going on with the lineup, but, man, he's a hell of a player. Why would they be looking to move him?
Hell of a player, makes a ton of contact. I'm a big Stephen Kwan fan. They're not looking to move him, nor are they looking to move Clase. I think that Clase is a little more available right now than Kwan. Clase is, as a late inning reliever, obviously a closer, his value seems to be peaking right now, whereas with Kwan, it's more a case of they don't seem to be optimistic about being able to sign him. And so if you can't sign him, you might believe that at some point in the next couple of years that you're going to probably test the waters and see if you can move him. I don't think it's likely that they trade him right now, but if you want to overwhelm them, they may listen. And maybe a team like the Dodgers, who have really struggled of late, I don't think the Tigers would do it. They're really not playing very good baseball in the last couple of weeks. But I think that there's a handful of teams out there for whom Kwan makes a lot of sense. The Padres have been looking for a left fielder since Brian Giles left, basically. I mean, they've got some issues trying to find who's going to play there. So I do think Kwan would fit the Padres exceptionally well, but the Guardians are not motivated to move him, nor are they shopping. But are they listening? Yes, because the Guardians always listen.
All right, last one before we let you go. You're out there in Cooperstown, obviously, for the Hall of Fame ceremonies, and Ichiro will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Hopefully, you'll be able to find out who the Jamokes were that didn't vote for him. But beyond that, just a quick thought on Ichiro and his place in the game of Major League Baseball. He's still somebody we've told you every time we're out at the park, we see him out there. He's pitching in the outfield. He's shagging fly balls. I mean, it's just, I love it. I love how much he loves this game. He's in his 50s. And he's out there looking like he's 30. It's amazing. But just give us your quick thought from you on just his impact on the game and the type of player he was.
He is a marvel, and to everybody who's driving right now on I-90, don't do this now. Do this when you get home. But when you get home, go to the Instagram page of the Baseball Hall of Fame and the Mariners, because they've got a video they posted today of Ichiro playing catch with Billy Wagner's kids. Okay, Billy Wagner is also going in the Hall of Fame on Sunday, but because Ichiro wants to make sure he gets a good catch in, he brought his gear and his glove, and he went out. They went out into the ball field. I mean, this will not surprise anybody in Seattle, but they went out to a little ball field in Cooperstown and just started playing catch. And there's a big video of Ichiro throwing with Billy's kids. It's unbelievable.
Love it.
So I mean that tells you your story about what he does every day. I know, too, what this means to Ichiro as the first ever Japanese-born player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame here in Cooperstown. I think the speech on Sunday is going to be an absolute all-timer, can't miss, one of the best you've ever heard. I think it's going to be funny. It's going to be poignant. I think much like it was when he did the speech when he went into the Mariners Hall of Fame at T-Mobile. He told that great story about Lou Piniella giving him a kiss after their first win on the cheek. And Junior, he was saying, I'm afraid Junior put glue on my chair. I mean, all this stuff back and forth. It's so cool. And I saw Junior today. I had a little brief conversation with him. I know how happy Ken is that Ichiro's going in. I mean, the relationship obviously they have is really special with Ichiro looking up to Junior for forever. So it's a really special weekend. And the last thing I'll say is, whether you're coming this weekend or you're going to be able to come through the Northeast at some point, make sure you stop by Cooperstown. There's a beautiful new exhibit dedicated. Really, Ichiro is the inspiration for it. It's called Yakyu Baseball, a Trans-Pacific partnership. Yakyu, of course, is what baseball is in Japanese, so Y-A-K-U, Yakyu. And it's dedicated to the cultural exchange between the U.S. and Japan. And really, Ichiro is the personification of that cultural exchange. So just a beautiful, beautiful occasion, and I'm thrilled to be here to witness it.
Well, we'll be watching your coverage. We'll be watching the speech, and it's going to be a lot of fun out there. And John, I know you're in your element. You're eating this all up, so happy for you to be out there, and look forward to hearing your stories, your takeaway from the event next week when we talk to you. Have a great time out there, man.
Oh, can't wait. I've already seen some 51 jerseys walking down the streets here in beautiful Cooperstown, down Chestnut Avenue. Tell you what, this is a beautiful slice of Americana here, and Ichiro is just he is the man of the hour, and I'm thrilled for him.
By the way, is it scorching hot out there? I feel like every time I watch the induction ceremonies, everybody's in suits, but they're all just dripping sweat, and everybody's fanning themselves with papers. It always looks like it's really hot.
Yeah, that's actually part of the experience. You feel like you're like Bear Bryant wearing a houndstooth hat on the sideline in the middle of like 99-degree heat, but it's warm. I'll be honest. The big question for Sunday is going to be the weather. There's some potential rain, which is never a good thing. So if anybody out there's got a direct line to Mother Nature, just send that beautiful. If you could just send that beautiful Seattle weather across the country to us, and we'll trade you for like one day. I would really love that if you can make that work.
Well, Mother Nature will do it. She's a fan of Jon Morosi, so
we love you, JP.
I appreciate that.
Have fun out there, man.
Thank you, guys.
We're happy for you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Really love the conversation. Thank you so much.
Talk to you next week, man. There he is, the one, the only Jon Morosi, who's absolutely in his element.
You're
out there.
right. I couldn't be happier for someone else.